On her birthday, she only had $2 and a broken heart, not knowing a Korean mafia boss would walk into her diner and change her life forever. Kate Morrison's birthday started the way the last five had ended, alone, broke, and trying not to cry during the breakfast rush at Rosie's diner. She was wiping down table 7 for the third time, stretching out the task because it meant she didn't have to face the reality waiting in her apron pocket. 2 crumpled dollar bills and 73 cents in change. 26 years old today, and she had exactly 2.73s to her name. "Order up, Kate," Jimmy's voice cracked through her thoughts. She grabbed the plates, 2 stacks of pancakes, extra syrup, and delivered them with the smile she perfected over 8 years of service work. The kind that said, "I'm fine, everything's fine, please tip well because my electricity got shut off yesterday." The morning crowd thinned around 10. Kate's coworker, Destiny, cornered her by the coffee station. "Girl, why didn't you tell me it was your birthday? I would have brought something." "It's not a big deal," Kate lied, refilling the sugar dispensers with hands that shook slightly from skipping dinner last night and breakfast this morning. The $2 in her pocket were earmarked for the bus fare she'd need for her second job tonight, cleaning offices downtown until 2 a.m. "The hell, it's not a big deal. You're 26. That's like a real adult birthday." Destiny pulled out her phone. "Hey, let me at least post something on—" "Don't." Kate's voice came out sharper than intended. "Please, I just want to get through today like any other day." Because acknowledging it was her birthday meant acknowledging that her mother hadn't called, that her father, wherever he was, wouldn't remember, that her ex-boyfriend, Travis, had her blocked on everything after she'd refused to loan him money she didn't have, that every friend from college had moved on to careers and relationships and lives that didn't include struggling to afford ramen. The lunch rush started early. Kate moved through it on autopilot, taking orders, delivering food, clearing tables, smiling until her face ached. A businessman left her 50 cents on a $40 check. A woman asked for her manager because Kate had brought Coke instead of Diet Coke, even though the woman had definitely said regular. A teenager called her ma'am in that way that made 26 feel ancient. At 2:47 p.m., Kate was in the bathroom, leaning against the sink, trying to breathe through the anxiety that had been building all day. Her reflection looked exhausted. Dark circles under brown eyes, hair scraped back into a bun that had started neat 8 hours ago. The cheap polyester uniform that made her look washed out. Her phone buzzed. A text from her landlord. Rent was due yesterday. Pay by Friday or start packing. Kate's rent was $950 for a studio in South Central that had roaches and a broken heater. She had $2.73. Her next paycheck wasn't for 5 days, and even then it would barely cover rent, much less the overdue electric bill or the phone bill or the credit card she'd maxed buying groceries last month. She allowed herself exactly 30 seconds to cry. Then she splashed cold water on her face, fixed her smile, and went back to work, because breaking down was a luxury she couldn't afford. At 3:15 p.m., everything changed. Kate was refilling ketchup bottles when the door chimed. She glanced up automatically and forgot how to breathe. The man who walked in looked like he'd stepped out of a different dimension. 6 feet tall, Korean, probably late 20s, with the kind of face that should be on billboards. Sharp jawline, intense dark eyes, black hair styled in that effortlessly perfect way that probably took 30 minutes. He wore a charcoal suit that screamed money, a crisp white shirt open at the collar, and moved with the coiled grace of someone who knew exactly how dangerous he was. Behind him came 3 other men, all Korean, all in suits, all scanning the diner like Secret Service agents. The lunch crowd went quiet. Even Rosie, who'd run this place for 30 years and feared nothing, straightened up behind the register. "Welcome to Rosie's," Kate heard herself say, grabbing menus on autopilot. "Booth or table?" The man's eyes found hers, and Kate felt the impact like a physical thing. He smiled, not the polite customer smile, but something genuine that transformed his severe features into something almost boyish. "Booth, please. Somewhere quiet." His English was perfect, barely accented. Kate led them to the corner booth, hyper-aware of his presence behind her. She could feel his gaze on her back, heavy and assessing. When she turned to hand out menus, she caught him studying her face with an intensity that made her pulse race. "I'm Kate. I'll be your server today. Can I start you with drinks?" "Coffee. Black." He handed the menu back without looking at it, still watching her. And whatever you recommend for lunch, I trust your judgment. Something about the way he said trust made her stomach flip. His companion ordered efficiently, more coffee, burgers, the meatloaf special. Kate scribbled it down and escaped to the kitchen, pressing her back against the wall and trying to calm her racing heart. Girl, who is that? Destiny hissed, peering through the order window. He looks like a whole entire K-drama lead. I don't know, but he's got a bodyguards. Nobody has bodyguards in South Central unless they're very important or very dangerous. Or both, Destiny said, eyes wide. You better get a good tip from Mr. Handsome. Work that smile. Kate delivered their food trying to maintain professional distance, but the man, she still didn't know his name, kept pulling her into conversation. Where was she from? Here, born and raised. How long had she worked at Rosie's? 8 years since she was 18. Did she like it? It pays the bills, she lied. His questions weren't intrusive exactly, but they were personal in a way that customers' questions usually weren't. And he listened to her answers with complete attention, like she was saying something profound instead of reciting her boring life story. When she brought the check, he handed her a black credit card and said, "Keep it open. We might want dessert." 2 hours later, they were still there. His men had relaxed slightly, though they still tracked everyone who entered. The man himself, Kate had learned his name was Ki Hong from his credit card, had ordered pie and more coffee, and showed no signs of leaving. And he kept watching her. Every time Kate passed the booth, his eyes followed. Not creepy or leering, but intent. Curious. Like she was a puzzle he was trying to solve. At 5:30, Destiny left for her second job, squeezing Kate's arm on the way out. "Happy birthday, babe. Wish I could take you out, but I know you've got your mom's medical bills. Don't worry about it." Kate hugged her friend, grateful for small kindnesses. "Thanks for remembering." She didn't realize Ki Hong had heard until she turned around and found him right there, having left the booth without her noticing. Up close, he was even more devastating. She caught a hint of expensive cologne, saw a small scar through his left eyebrow, noticed his hands, elegant but marked with old scars across the knuckles. "It's your birthday?" His voice was soft, almost gentle. Kate's face heated. "It's not a big deal." When someone says something isn't a big deal, it usually means it's a very big deal. They're trying to pretend doesn't hurt. He tilted his head slightly. "How are you celebrating?" The laugh that escaped her was bitter. "I'm working until close, then I've got my second job at 11, so probably celebrating with industrial strength floor cleaner and other people's trash." Something flickered across his face. "You work 2 jobs?" "3, actually. I clean offices at night, do delivery driving on weekends. But hey, living the dream, right?" She tried to make it sound like a joke, but it came out defeated. Ki Hong was quiet for a long moment, studying her with those intense eyes. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a wallet that probably cost more than her monthly rent. "What time do you close?" 8, but I've got to catch the bus by 8:15 to make it to my other job. "Call in sick." Kate blinked. "What?" "To your other job. Call in sick." He pulled out several bills. She caught a glimpse of hundreds and held them out. "Take the night off. It's your birthday." "I can't accept that." Even as her fingers itched to take it, to have that cushion, that security. "I don't even know you. You know my name is Lim Ki Hong. You know I have terrible taste in pie because I ordered the banana cream when clearly the chocolate was superior." A slight smile. "You know I've been sitting in this diner for 3 hours because I couldn't stop watching you work. And you know that something made you sad enough to cry in the bathroom earlier, and I want to fix it." Kate's breath caught. "You saw that?" "I see everything." Not a boast, just a statement of fact. "Kate, I'm asking you to let me do something for your birthday. No strings, no expectations. Just let someone be kind to you. You look like you haven't had much of that lately." The truth of it made her eyes sting. When was the last time someone had been genuinely kind to her, without wanting something in return? Why? "Because in the 3 hours I've watched you, you've smiled at every customer, even when they were rude. You gave that homeless man free coffee when you thought no one was looking. You helped that elderly woman cut her meatloaf without making her feel helpless. And you did it all while carrying whatever weight is making your shoulders slump." He stepped closer. So let me give you one night where you don't have to carry anything. Please. I have 273 to my name, Kate heard herself say. My electricity is shut off. My landlord is threatening eviction. I can't afford to miss a shift. Ki Hong's expression shifted into something fierce and protective. Then let me pay you for the shift. Double, triple, whatever you'd make plus tips. He held up a hand when she started to protest. Call it hiring you as a consultant. I need advice on something only you can provide. What could I possibly consult on? How to throw a proper birthday party. His smile was devastating. Because I'm about to organize one, and I need your expertise to make sure it's perfect. Kate's mind blanked. A birthday party? For who? For you. He said it like it was obvious. Right here, tonight. Kate, when did you last have a real birthday celebration? Never. The word sat heavy on her tongue. Her childhood had been a series of foster homes after her mother's arrest. Birthdays were forgotten or ignored. As an adult, she'd been too broke, too alone, too tired. I don't need what you need and what you deserve are different things. Ki Hong pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. You deserve cake and music and people who celebrate you existing. So that's what's happening. Unless you really don't want it? He posed it as a question, giving her the choice. Kate looked into his eyes and saw a genuine desire to do this, to give her something. And suddenly, the idea of going to clean toilets on her birthday when this beautiful, dangerous, mysterious man wanted to throw her a party seemed unbearably sad. Okay, she whispered. Okay, yes. Ki Hong's smile could have powered the city. He lifted his phone and barked rapid instructions in Korean. His men snapped to attention, and then everything became a whirlwind. Kate, you need to tell me what's happening, Rosie demanded, pulling her aside as Ki Hong's people started making phone calls. Who is this guy? Why are there suddenly 10 more Korean men in suits showing up? I honestly have no idea, Kate admitted, but I think he might be very rich or very dangerous. Possibly both. Definitely both, Rosie muttered, but her eyes were calculating. He just paid me $5,000 to close the diner to regular customers and let him use it for a private event. 5,000, Kate, for 4 hours. Kate's jaw dropped. He what? And he's paying each staff member who stays $500. I told him we close at 8 anyway, but he insisted. Rosie grabbed Kate's shoulders. Baby girl, I don't know what's happening here, but that man is clearly interested in you. Be careful, but also be open. Men like that don't walk into places like this every day. Over the next hour, Kate watched in stunned disbelief as Ki Hong transformed Rosie's diner into something magical. Florists arrived with arrangements of red roses and white lilies. A catering company brought in champagne and fancy appetizers. A DJ started setting up equipment in the corner. Someone hung string lights that made the whole space glow warm and golden. How is this even possible? Kate asked as Ki Hong directed operations like a general commanding troops. It's been an hour. You can't plan a party in an hour. You can when you have unlimited resources and highly motivated people. He turned to her, and his expression softened. But we're missing the most important element. The guest of honor needs a dress. I have a dress at home, no time, and respectfully, you deserve something new. Something that makes you feel beautiful. He gestured to one of his men who produced a garment bag Kate hadn't noticed. I had my assistant grab a few options. Pick whichever you like or don't wear any of them. Your choice. Inside the garment bag were 3 dresses that made Kate's knees weak. A emerald green silk sheath that looked like liquid. A burgundy velvet cocktail dress with a plunging back. And a golden dress covered in delicate beading that caught the light like captured stars. These probably cost more than I make in 6 months, Kate breathed, fingers hovering over the gold dress, afraid to touch it. They're yours regardless of whether you wear them tonight. Ki Hong's voice was gentle. But I think the gold one would be stunning on you. It matches the warm undertones in your skin. Kate looked up sharply. You know about undertones? I know about a lot of things. He smiled. Go, get ready. Your party starts in 30 minutes. The diner's single bathroom became a makeshift dressing room. Kate changed into the gold dress with shaking hands, barely believing the woman in the mirror was her. The dress fit perfectly, hugging curves she usually hid under baggy uniforms. The beading caught every movement, making her shimmer. She let her hair down from its bun, natural curls falling past her shoulders in a way she usually couldn't afford the time or products to maintain. Her makeup was minimal, just mascara and lip gloss from the emergency kit in her purse. But somehow she glowed. When she emerged, the diner had fully transformed. The lights were dimmed, candles flickering on every surface. Music played low and sultry, and at least 40 people filled the space. Where had they all come from? Talking and laughing, and dressed like this was an actual event. Ki-hong stood near the counter in conversation with an older Korean man. But the moment Kate appeared, his attention snapped to her. His expression did something complicated. Heat and appreciation and something almost vulnerable. He crossed to her in 3 strides. Kate, her name in his mouth sounded like a prayer. You look incredible. I feel like Cinderella, except it's not midnight I'm worried about. It's reality. She gestured at the transformed diner. This is insane. You're insane. This whole thing is exactly what you deserve, he interrupted. Now come, there are people who want to meet you. The next hour was surreal. Ki-hong introduced her to what seemed like half of LA's Korean community, business owners, community leaders, people who treated her with warmth and respect that felt genuine. They wished her happy birthday in English and Korean, pressed small gifts into her hands, asked about her life with actual interest. Who are all these people? Kate whispered to Ki-hong during a brief lull. Friends, associates, people I called in favors from. He handed her a glass of champagne. People who understand that when I ask them to come celebrate someone, they come. That's a lot of influence. I have a lot of influence. Not bragging, just fact. Kate, I should be honest with you about who I am. What I do. You're not an import-export businessman, are you? His laugh was surprised and genuine. No, I'm the head of the Lim family. We control most of the Korean operations in Southern California. What Americans would call the Korean Mafia. Kate should have been shocked, terrified. Instead, pieces clicked into place. The bodyguards, the instant obedience, the unlimited resources. So you're a crime boss. I prefer businessmen with unconventional methods. His eyes searched hers. Does that scare you? It should, Kate admitted. But honestly, after the day I've had, the week I've had, the year I've had, a handsome criminal throwing me a birthday party is somehow the least stressful thing to happen. At least you're honest about what you are. Most people run when they find out. I'm too tired to run, and besides, she gestured at the party around them, the cake being wheeled out, the people singing happy birthday in 2 languages. You're kind of winning me over with grand gestures. The cake was a masterpiece. 3 tiers covered in gold leaf with Happy Birthday Kate, written in both English and Korean. 26 candles flickered on top. Everyone gathered around as Kate approached it, feeling tears prick her eyes. Make a wish, Ki-hong said softly, standing close enough that she felt his warmth. Kate closed her eyes. I wish for this to be real, for this feeling to last, for life to be different from this moment forward. She blew out the candles and everyone erupted in applause. Speech, someone called. Others joined in. Kate froze, panic flooding through her. Ki-hong's hand found the small of her back, steadying. You don't have to. But Kate found herself speaking anyway. I don't really know what to say. This morning I woke up with 273 to my name. I was going to work a double shift and go to bed early so I wouldn't have to think about being alone on my birthday. And then she looked at Ki-hong, at this man who'd walked into her life and turned it upside down in the best way. Then someone showed me kindness, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. So thank you, all of you, for making this the best birthday I've ever had. The applause was genuine, warm. People came up to hug her, to press business cards into her hands, call me if you ever need anything, to treat her like she mattered. And Kate, who'd spent so long invisible and struggling, felt seen for the first time in years. As the party continued, Ki-hong pulled her aside. Dance with me. I don't really know how to dance. Neither do I. We'll figure it out together. He led her to the small, cleared space that served as a dance floor. The DJ, who Kate now realized was someone's uncle who'd apparently spun at clubs in Seoul, put on something slow and jazzy. Ki-hong's hands settled on her waist, warm through the thin fabric of her dress. Kate's breath caught as he pulled her close, their bodies fitting together like puzzle pieces. She'd never felt so aware of another person, the solid strength of him, the way he smelled like expensive cologne, and something darker, the heat of his palm against her skin. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly as they swayed. "Really, you don't know me. I'm nobody, just a waitress barely surviving." "You're not nobody." His voice was fierce. "Kate, I've spent 3 hours watching you today. I saw how you treated every customer with dignity even when they didn't deserve it. How you slipped that kid extra fries when his mother couldn't afford a larger meal. How you kept smiling even though you were falling apart inside." His hand tightened on her waist. "You're surviving in a system designed to break people like you, and you're doing it with grace and kindness intact. That's not nobody. That's extraordinary." "You saw all that in 3 hours?" "I see everything," he repeated. "It's how I've stayed alive in my world. Reading people, understanding motivations, seeing what others miss." He spun her gently, and when she came back to him, his eyes were intense. "And I saw you, Kate Morrison, really saw you. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about what it would be like to make your life easier, happier, better." "Why would you want to do that?" "Because the moment you smiled at me, that first real smile, not your customer service face, I felt something I haven't felt in 5 years. Interest, attraction, the possibility that maybe I could be more than my father's legacy and my organization's leader." He pulled her closer, and Kate's heart hammered. "You made me want to be the kind of man who deserves to make you smile again." That's a lot of pressure for someone who was crying in a bathroom 4 hours ago. His laugh rumbled through his chest. "Fair. Then how about this? I think you're beautiful, fascinating, and stronger than you know. And I'd like permission to spend more time with you. To take you on actual dates, to see if this thing I'm feeling is real or just temporary insanity." "Temporary insanity from what? Throwing birthday parties for strangers?" "From meeting someone who makes me believe in possibilities I'd given up on." The song ended. They stopped moving but didn't separate. Kate looked up into Ki Hong's eyes and saw something that terrified and thrilled her. Genuine feeling. Real interest. The kind of intensity that could either save her or destroy her. "I have nothing to offer you," she said honestly. "No money, no connections, no life that would fit with yours. I'm broke and exhausted and kind of a mess." "You have yourself. That's more than enough." He cupped her face gently. "Kate, I don't want you to fit my life. I want to build something new that works for both of us. Starting right now. Starting with making sure you never have to choose between electricity and food again." "I can't let you pay my bills. I don't even know you." "Then get to know me. Let me take you to dinner tomorrow. Let me show you who I am beyond the organization and the reputation. Give me a chance to prove I'm serious about this." His thumb brushed across her cheek. "Give us a chance, we want." Kate knew this was crazy, knew she should say no, should protect herself, should not let a gorgeous criminal sweep into her life and promise to fix everything. But standing there in a gold dress that cost more than her rent, surrounded by people celebrating her existence, feeling seen and valued for the first time in memory, how could she say no? "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, yes. Take me to dinner. Show me who you are. Let's see if this is real." Ki Hong's smile was brilliant. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. Kate didn't. His lips met hers in a kiss that was gentle and searching and absolutely perfect. Around them, people cheered, but Kate barely heard it. She was too busy feeling like her life had just split into before and after. Before Ki Hong, and after. The party continued for another 2 hours. Kate danced and laughed and ate cake and felt light in a way she'd forgotten was possible. Ki Hong stayed close, always touching her, a hand on her back, fingers laced through hers, his jacket draped over her shoulders when she got cold. "I need to tell you something," he said as midnight approached. They were sitting in a booth, her feet aching pleasantly from dancing, her head slightly fuzzy from champagne. "About why I was at the diner today. You weren't just randomly craving mediocre coffee?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "No, I was there for business. There's a restaurant owner 2 blocks over who owes my organization money. I was in the neighborhood to collect when I saw you through the window. You were helping that elderly woman, and your smile was so genuine, so warm. And I thought, when was the last time someone looked at me like that? like I was just a person, not a weapon or an asset or something to fear. So you came in for coffee and stayed for 3 hours? I came in because I couldn't not come in, and I stayed because I couldn't leave. Kate, I've spent 5 years building my father's empire, being the leader everyone needs me to be. I've forgotten how to be just Ki Hong. But today, watching you work, talking to you, seeing you in that gold dress, I remembered what it feels like to want something for myself. Not for the organization, not for family honor, just for me. And what do you want? You. Simple, direct, devastating. I want to know everything about you. I want to make you laugh. I want to wake up next to you and hear about your dreams. I want to introduce you to my mother and watch her inevitably fall in love with you, because how could she not? He took her hand. I want to build something real with you, Kate, if you'll let me. Your mother, Kate repeated weakly. Ki Hong, we just met. This is our first conversation. We can't what? Feel something real? Feel something immediate? He leaned closer. Kate, I'm 28 years old. I've dated extensively. I know what attraction feels like, what infatuation feels like, what convenience feels like. This isn't any of those things. This is recognition. Like my soul saw yours and said yes. Finally, here she is. That's very romantic for a criminal. I'm Korean. Romance is in our blood. Have you never seen a K-drama? Kate laughed despite herself. I can't afford Netflix. Well, now you can. I'm paying your bills, remember? At her expression, he held up both hands, which we'll discuss properly tomorrow. Over dinner, where I will present a formal proposal for how I can help you without making you feel like a kept woman or charity case. There's no way to do that that won't feel weird. Then we'll be weird together. Kate, I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Letting you struggle when I could help with a fraction of what I spend on suits in a month? That's unconscionable. Let me fix your immediate problems so you can breathe, and then we'll figure out everything else. Why do you even care? I'm still nobody to you. You're not nobody. You're the woman who made me believe in something beyond duty and obligation. You're the birthday girl who deserves so much more than this world has given her, and selfishly, you're someone I want in my life. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. So let me be in yours. Kate wanted to argue, wanted to maintain her independence and pride, but the truth was, she was drowning. Had been drowning for years, and Ki Hong was offering her a lifeline. Maybe it was too fast, too intense, too fairy tale to be real. But maybe, just maybe, she deserved a little magic. Okay, she said. Help me. Take me to dinner. Show me. This isn't some beautiful dream I'm going to wake up from. It's not a dream. It's better. He kissed her hand. It's real. The party wound down around 1 a.m. Ki Hong's people cleaned everything with military efficiency, leaving Rosie's looking better than it had in years. Rosie herself pulled Kate aside, pressing an envelope into her hands. $500 for working tonight, plus your tips from the day, plus a bonus because it's your birthday, and because that man clearly has it bad for you. Inside the envelope was $1,500. Kate's eyes filled with tears. Rosie, I can't. You can and you will. Baby girl, I've watched you struggle for 8 years, working yourself to death, never complaining, always giving. Let someone give back to you for once. Rosie hugged her tight. And be careful with that one. He's dangerous, but I don't think he's dangerous to you. I think he might be the best thing that's ever walked through that door. Ki Hong drove her home himself, dismissing his security detail with a few sharp words in Korean. His car was some kind of luxury sedan that probably cost more than Kate would earn in 5 years. She sank into leather seats and tried not to think about the gap between their worlds. What are you thinking? He asked, navigating LA traffic with easy competence. That this is crazy. That you're crazy, that I'm crazy for agreeing to any of this. Probably true on all counts. He glanced at her, smiling. But the best things in life are usually a little crazy. He pulled up outside her building, a rundown complex where half the exterior lights were broken and graffiti covered the walls. Kate saw him take it in, saw something protective flash across his face. How long have you lived here? 3 years? It's not much, but it's mine. Or it will be if I can pay rent by Friday. Ki Hong pulled out his phone, typed rapidly, then looked at her. Your rent is $950, yes? And you're 2 months behind? Kate's face burned. How do you know that? I have resources, and I wanted to understand your situation fully before offering help. He continued before she could be angry. I just paid your landlord 3 months' rent. Current month plus the two you owe, and I've set up automatic payments for the next year. Ki-hong, you can't just, I can, and I did. Consider it a birthday gift. At her expression, his own softened. Kate, please, let me do this. Your electricity will be back on by tomorrow morning. Your phone bill is paid. Your credit cards are cleared. These are tiny amounts of money to me, but they're crushing you. Let me lift that weight. I don't know how to accept this. Say thank you, then let me take you to dinner tomorrow night. That's all I'm asking. Kate looked at this man who'd walked into her life hours ago and turned everything upside down. This dangerous, powerful, surprisingly gentle man who'd seen her struggling and decided to care. Thank you, she whispered, for everything, for seeing me. I'll always see you. He leaned across the console, cupping her face. Can I kiss you goodnight? Kate answered by closing the distance herself. This kiss was different from the one at the party, deeper, more intimate, full of promise. Ki-hong's hand threaded into her hair, gentle but possessive, and Kate felt claimed in the best possible way. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Ki-hong rested his forehead against hers. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Wear something nice but comfortable. I'm taking you somewhere special. Where? You'll see. He kissed her once more, quick and sweet. Happy birthday, Kate Morrison. Thank you for letting me make it better. Kate floated up to her apartment, clutching the envelope from Rosie and the small gifts from party guests. Inside her studio, she flipped the light switch experimentally and nearly cried when actual light flooded the space. Ki-hong had moved fast. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Sleep well. Dream of me. I'll certainly dream of you. Kate saved the number, changed out of the gold dress with reverent care, and lay in bed replaying every moment of the night. From crying in the bathroom to dancing in Ki-hong's arms, from having $2.73 to having a year of rent paid, from being alone to being seen. She fell asleep smiling, her phone clutched to her chest, birthday wishes finally coming true. The next morning, Kate woke to 17 missed calls from Destiny and a text that just said, "Girl, call me now. I saw the pictures from last night on Instagram. Who is that man?" Before Kate could respond, her doorbell rang. She opened it to find a delivery person holding a massive bouquet of red roses in a garment bag. Kate Morrison? That's me. Delivery from Mr. Lim. The person handed over everything and left before Kate could tip them. The card attached to the roses read, "Good morning, beautiful. Looking forward to tonight. The dress is for you to keep. You look it too perfect in it to give it back. Dream well." Inside the garment bag was the gold dress from last night, professionally cleaned and pressed. Kate buried her face in the roses and let herself feel it, the giddy, terrifying, exhilarating rush of new feelings. Her phone rang. Destiny, Kate answered, bracing herself. Kate Morrison, you better start talking right now. Who is Lim Ki-hong? Why is he throwing you parties? And when did you become friends with half of Koreatown's elite? It's complicated. Complicated how? Complicated like he's married? Complicated like he's secretly an axe murderer? Complicated like he runs the Korean Mafia and decided to throw me a birthday party after watching me cry in the bathroom at work. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, what? Kate told her everything. The whole surreal story from Ki-hong walking into the diner to the kiss outside her building. Destiny listened without interrupting, which was how Kate knew she was truly shocked. Okay, Destiny finally said. Okay, so let me get this straight. A gorgeous Korean crime boss walked into Rosie's, saw you, decided he was in love, and threw you a party with 40 guests, champagne, and a 3-tier cake. Then he paid all your bills and asked you to dinner. That's the summary, yes. And you said yes to the dinner. I did. Kate, honey, that's either the most romantic thing I've ever heard or the beginning of a true crime podcast. I'm hoping for romantic. Me too, but girl, be careful. Men with that much power and money, they're used to getting what they want. Make sure he sees you as a person, not a project or a possession. He does, I think. He sees me in a way no one else ever has. Kate touched the roses. Destiny, what if this is real? What if it's not too good to be true? Then hold on to it with both hands. But keep your eyes open, okay? I love you too much to watch you get hurt. They talked for another hour before Destiny had to go to work. Kate spent the day in her apartment, the first day off in months, just processing. She reorganized her tiny space, did laundry without worrying about quarters, ate actual food instead of ramen, and she thought about Ki-hong. At 5 p.m., she started getting ready for dinner. The gold dress felt too fancy, so she chose one of her own dresses, simple black, nothing special, but clean and professional. She took time with her hair and makeup, trying to look like someone who belonged in a crime boss's world. Ki-hong arrived exactly at 7 p.m., wearing dark slacks and a black button-down that made him look devastating. His eyes lit up when she opened the door. "You look beautiful. This dress cost $30 at Target. I don't care what it cost. You wear it like it's couture." He offered his arm. "Ready?" The restaurant he took her to was high-end Korean BBQ, the kind with private rooms and servers who grilled everything tableside. Ki-hong had reserved the best room, quiet, intimate, with a view of the city lights. "I wanted somewhere we could talk without interruption," he explained as they settled onto cushions at the low table. "Somewhere I could get to know you properly." "What are you doing? Do you want to know?" "Everything. Start from the beginning. Where did you grow up? What was your childhood like? What are your dreams beyond surviving?" So Kate told him about being born to a teenage mother who struggled with addiction, about bouncing between foster homes after her mom's arrest when Kate was 7, about aging out of the system at 18 with nothing, about community college and big dreams that got deferred when reality hit, about working 3 jobs and still barely making it, about feeling invisible and insignificant and forgotten. Ki-hong listened with complete attention, his expression growing more fierce as she spoke. When she finished, he reached across the table and took both her hands. "You're not invisible. Not to me. Not ever again." His voice was intense. "Kate, everything you have survived, that takes strength most people can't imagine. You did it alone, without support, without resources, and you still have kindness left. That's extraordinary. Or stupid. Sometimes I think if I was smarter, I would have given up and been less miserable. Surviving isn't stupid. It's the bravest thing you can do." He squeezed her hands. "Now let me tell you my story, so you know what you're getting into." Ki-hong's story was different but similarly painful. Born into the organization, raised to lead it. His father was killed when Ki-hong was 23, making him leader too young with too many enemies. He'd spent 5 years consolidating power, eliminating threats, building legitimate businesses to wash the criminal enterprise clean. "I've done things I'm not proud of," he said quietly. "Hurt people, made decisions that kept me up at night. I'm not a good man, Kate. I'm just a man trying to be better than my worst actions. But you are trying, that matters. Does it, or am I just making excuses for being a monster? Monsters don't throw birthday parties for struggling waitresses. Monsters don't sit in diners for 3 hours watching someone work because they can't stop thinking about them. Monsters don't look at me the way you do, like I matter." Ki-hong's expression cracked open. "You do matter. God, Kate, you matter more than anything in my world right now. You make me want to be the man you seem to think I am. Then be him." The food arrived, breaking the intensity. They ate and talked about lighter things, favorite movies, music preferences, childhood memories that didn't hurt. Kate learned that Ki-hong loved old American jazz, that he'd wanted to be a chef before family duty called, that he had a younger sister studying medicine in Seoul who he adored. "She's the good one in the family," he said with obvious pride. "Smart, compassionate, everything I'm not. She hates what I do but loves me anyway. I'd like to meet her someday. She'd like you. She's always telling me I need someone who sees past the organization to who I actually am." His foot found hers under the table. "I think I've found that someone." After dinner, Ki-hong didn't take her home immediately. Instead, he drove to Griffith Observatory, which was closed to the public but apparently not to him. A security guard let them in with a respectful nod. "How did you arrange this?" Kate asked as they climbed stairs in the dark. "I donated a significant amount to their education programs. They're flexible about occasional after-hours visits." The view from the observatory terrace was stunning, all of Los Angeles spread out below them like a carpet of lights. Ki Hong stood behind Kate, arms around her waist, chin resting on her head. I wanted to show you something, he said quietly. This city. From up here you can see everything. All the neighborhoods, all the different worlds existing side by side. And I wanted you to know that any part of it you want, it's yours. You want to go back to school? I'll pay. Want to start a business? I'll fund it. Want to travel? I'll arrange it. He turned her to face him. I don't want you just surviving anymore, Kate. I want you thriving. Why? We barely know each other. Because I see who you could be without the weight of poverty crushing you. I see the brilliant, capable, extraordinary woman you are when you're not exhausted from working 3 jobs. And I want to give that woman space to bloom. That's a lot of pressure. It's not pressure. It's possibility. He cupped her face. Kate, I'm not asking you to be anyone other than yourself. I'm just asking to remove the barriers preventing you from being the fullest version of yourself. What would you do if money wasn't an object, if you could pursue any dream? Kate had never let herself think about it. Dreams were luxuries she couldn't afford. But standing there with the city spread below and Ki Hong's arms around her, she let herself imagine. I'd go back to school, finish my degree in social work, open a resource center for foster kids aging out of the system, help them the way no one helped me. Then that's what we'll do. Said with absolute certainty, like it was already decided. Ki Hong, you can't just decide that. I can, actually. I have the resources, the connections, the ability to make this happen. And I want to. Not for you, with you as your partner, your supporter. Whatever you need me to be. Why? Kate's voice broke. Why me? Why now? I'm nobody special, nothing exceptional. Stop saying that. His voice turned fierce. You are special. You're exceptional. And the fact that you can't see it breaks my heart. Kate, you've survived things that would have destroyed most people. You've maintained your kindness and compassion despite this world giving you every reason to be bitter. You smile at strangers and help people who can't help you back. That's who you are. That's what makes you extraordinary. Or maybe just naive. Not naive, good. There's a difference. And Kate, he pressed his forehead to hers. I've spent 5 years surrounded by people who want something from me. Power, money, protection, status. You're the first person who looked at me and just saw a man. Who let me be Ki Hong instead of Boss Lim. That's priceless. You're priceless. Kate kissed him because words felt insufficient. Kissed him with everything she had, gratitude and hope and the terrifying feeling blooming in her chest that might be love. Ki Hong responded instantly, arms tightening around her, kissing her back like she was oxygen. When they finally broke apart, Kate whispered, I'm falling for you. I know it's too fast. I know it's crazy, but I can't help it. Then fall. I'll catch you. His smile was tender. I'm already halfway in love with you, Kate Morrison, and I think by the end of this week, I'll be completely gone. They stayed on that terrace for hours, talking and kissing and planning a future that felt impossible but somehow real. And when Ki Hong finally drove her home as dawn broke, Kate felt like a different person than the one who'd woken up crying on her birthday 2 days ago. The next 6 months were a whirlwind. Ki Hong integrated Kate into his life with determination. She met his sister via video call and liked her immediately. She attended family dinners where his mother, initially skeptical, slowly warmed to her. She learned about his world, the dangerous parts and the surprisingly normal parts, and somehow found her place in it. Ki Hong kept his promises. He enrolled Kate in USC's social work program, covering tuition and living expenses so she could quit her other jobs and focus on school. He helped her find a better apartment in a safer neighborhood, and he started planning the resource center she dreamed about, involving her in every decision. But it wasn't one-sided. Kate brought light into Ki Hong's dark world. She made him laugh, challenged his decisions, refused to be intimidated by his reputation. She attended his business functions and charmed his associates. She reminded him why he was trying to go legitimate in the first place, because there was more to life than power and control. They fought sometimes, about his dangerous work, about her independence, about how fast they were moving. But they always came back together, communicating in ways Devon never had, respecting each other's boundaries while pushing each other to grow. You make me want to be better, Ki Hong told her one night, 6 months in. They were in his penthouse, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing patterns on her back. Before you, I was just going through motions, building power for its own sake. But you remind me there's a reason for all of it, that I can use what I have to help people, to build something meaningful. You were always capable of that. You just needed permission to want it. You gave me that permission. You made me believe I could be more than my father's legacy. Kate lifted her head to look at him. Ki-hong, you are more than that. You're brilliant and kind and surprisingly gentle for a man who terrifies half of LA. You're building legitimate businesses, investing in the community, helping people. That's not your father's legacy. That's yours. He kissed her softly. Marry me. Kate's breath caught. What? Marry me, say. Be my wife, my partner, my everything. Help me build this new life. Grow old with me. Say yes. Ki-hong, we've only known each other 6 months, and I've known you were mine since the first moment I saw you crying in that bathroom. Kate, I love you completely, desperately, forever. And I know it's fast, but when you know, so marry me, please. Kate looked into his eyes and saw her future. Saw the family they could build, the center they'd create, the life they'd share. Saw past the dangerous reputation to the man who'd seen her when she was invisible, who'd celebrated her birthday when no one else remembered, who'd lifted her up without making her feel small. Yes, she whispered. Yes, you insane man. I'll marry you. Ki-hong's joy was incandescent. He produced a ring, a stunning diamond that he'd apparently been carrying for weeks, waiting for the right moment. It fit perfectly. I love you, he said, sliding it onto her finger. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for taking a chance on me. Thank you for making my life mean something beyond duty and obligation. I love you too. Thank you for seeing me first, for making me believe I was worth celebrating, for giving me space to be more than just surviving. They made love that night with new tenderness, celebrating the future they had built together. And Kate thought about the girl who'd started her birthday with $2.73 and a breaking heart, and the woman she'd become, loved, valued, seen. The wedding happened 3 months later. Kate wanted something small, but Ki-hong's world required something larger. They compromised with an elegant ceremony that honored both their backgrounds, Korean traditions mixed with personal touches that made it uniquely theirs. Kate walked down the aisle in a dress that combined a white Western gown with traditional Korean elements. Her foster sister from childhood, the only family she'd kept in touch with, by her side. Ki-hong waited at the altar looking devastating in a custom suit, and when he saw her, his expression cracked open with emotion. The vows they exchanged were personal, honest. Ki-hong promised to always see her, to support her dreams, to build a life where she never felt invisible again. Kate promised to be his light, to challenge him, to stand beside him as he became the man he wanted to be. I was nobody until you, Kate said, tears streaming. Just a waitress with $2.73 and broken dreams. You made me see myself differently. Made me believe I was worth celebrating. I promise to never let you forget that you're more than your worst moments, that you're capable of extraordinary kindness, that you're enough exactly as you are. Ki-hong was openly crying. You were never nobody. You were always extraordinary. You just needed someone to see it. I promise to spend every day proving you made the right choice, trusting me, that I'm worthy of your love, that we can build something beautiful from broken pieces. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Ki-hong kissed her like she was oxygen. The assembled guests, a mix of Korean community leaders, Kate's college friends, workers from Rosie's Diner, and carefully selected organization members going legitimate, erupted in applause. At the reception, Rosie gave a toast that had everyone laughing and crying. I've known this girl since she was 18 years old, working double shifts and never complaining. Watched her give her last dollar to customers who needed it more. Watched her survive when others would have broken. And then one day, this man walked into my diner and looked at her like she hung the moon. I knew then trouble was coming, but the best kind of trouble, the kind that changes everything. Ki-hong's sister flew in from Seoul and pulled Kate aside. My brother was lost before you, going through motions, building power because he didn't know what else to do. You gave him purpose, gave him love. Thank you for seeing the man he is behind everything else. Thank you for raising such a good man, Kate replied, for loving him enough to call him on his bullshit. They danced until 3 a.m. Ki Hong insisted on recreating their first dance from the birthday party, the DJ playing the same jazz song. Kate pressed close to her husband, and marveled at how far they'd come. What are you thinking? Ki Hong murmured against her hair. About champagne dying on marble. About having $2.73. About crying in a bathroom and thinking my life was over. She looked up at him. About how the worst day of my life led to the best. I think about that too. About walking into Rosie's for business and finding my entire future waiting tables in a polyester uniform. His arms tightened around her. Best decision I ever made, following that impulse. Best birthday I ever had. Just wait for this one. I've already started planning. Kate laughed. You're going to throw me a party every year for the rest of our lives, aren't you? Obviously, you deserve to be celebrated. Every single year, for the rest of our lives. He kissed her softly. Happy beginning, Mrs. Lim. Happy beginning, Mr. Lim. 5 years later, Kate stood in the completed Foster Youth Resource Center, the one she'd dreamed about, that Ki Hong had helped build. Around her, 20 young people who'd aged out of the system received support, education, job training, and hope. Everything she'd never had. You did this, Ki Hong said, coming up behind her with their 2-year-old daughter on his hip. Their daughter, a perfect mix of both of them, with Kate's smile and Ki Hong's eyes, reached for her mother. We did this, Kate corrected, taking their child. You funded it, believed in it, made it real. I just provided resources. You provided the vision, the heart, the understanding of what these kids need. This is your legacy, Kate. Kate looked around at the center, at the young people finding hope, at the staff she'd trained, at the programs changing lives. Then she looked at Ki Hong, at their daughter, at the life they'd built from that impossible first meeting. No, she said softly, our legacy, everything we build together. Ki Hong kissed her temple. Together. Always. That night, after putting their daughter to bed, Kate found an old photo from her birthday party, the first one 7 years ago. She barely recognized herself in the gold dress, eyes wide with wonder, Ki Hong's arm around her waist. Look what I found, she showed Ki Hong. He studied it, smiling. You were so scared that night, terrified I was some kind of fever dream you'd wake up from. I was right to be scared. You changed everything. We changed everything. Together. He pulled her close. Best $2.73 you ever spent. Kate laughed. I didn't spend it. I still have it. Framed in my office. A reminder of where I started. And look where you are now, Dr. Kate Lim, running the most successful foster youth program in California. Mother, wife, absolute badass. Don't forget former waitress with dreams too big for her reality. Your reality just needed to catch up with your dreams. I'm glad I could help with that. He kissed her softly. Thank you for letting me, for trusting me, for building this impossible, beautiful life with me. Kate kissed him back, tasting their shared history. The birthday party that started everything. The fights and makeups, the wedding that joined their worlds, the daughter sleeping down the hall, the center they'd built, the future still unfolding. Thank you for walking into Rosie's Diner 7 years ago, for seeing me when I was invisible, for making me believe I was worth celebrating, for loving me when I had nothing to offer but myself. You had everything to offer. You just couldn't see it yet. Ki Hong pulled her toward their bedroom, that familiar heat in his eyes. Now come here, Mrs. Lim. It's almost midnight, which means in a few minutes it'll be your birthday again. And I have plans. Kate went willingly, laughing, because this was her life now, not struggling, not surviving, but thriving, building something meaningful with a man who saw her, who celebrated her, who'd walked into her life when she had $2.73 and changed everything. The poor black waitress and the Korean Mafia boss. An impossible love story that became the most real thing either of them had ever known.